Hello, greetings from Montenegro. I'm Marko Milacic, civil activist and journalist, and also executive director of Movement for Neutrality of Montenegro. And with me is Božidar Čarmak. He's a Montenegrin lawyer and very focused on the topic of land grabbing on our seaside and our coast. Our aim is to draw European public attention on the state now in Montenegro, where his will to on undemocratically avoid free citizens' will when it comes to deciding about entering the NATO alliance. Like you know now, yesterday and today is a big summit held in Warsaw, Poland. And while the heads of Montenegrin authority represent themselves as the leaders of Montenegro and its citizens now in Poland at the Warsaw summit and other summits also, they at the same time brutally deny basic human rights and democratic principles here in Montenegro, one of which is to decide on their own destiny on a civil and a state issue of this importance to those same people. So according to the internal documents that we published last year, the internal documents of our government, which leaked last year, 84% of the people, of the citizens in Montenegro, think that the decision on NATO or joining to NATO entrance should be made in a referendum, while a huge majority of the NATO, of those who are for NATO joining, are also for a referendum. In the same time, in the very same time, our government and the seven-time Prime Minister Milo Đukanović, who is now in Warsaw summit, wants to push up against the will of the people to NATO through the parliament. We want to say that that is one very big undemocratic manner, and the majority of the people here in Montenegro wants to show their will and want to decide on their own about such a huge topic for Montenegro, one of the most important topics in the recent Montenegrin history. Because of that, and this is why we initiated the project of the internet referendum on NATO integration. You can see our logo there on the back wall here. So this is the logo of our internet referendum, and you can find it on the www.votemontenegro.eu website, where for now, in this short period of time, more than 20,000 people, major-aged Montenegrin citizens, have voted. One of the aims of this project is to show what free and fair voting, the vote of suggestive questions, such as those in government-ordered researchers, looks like, and what these results look like. And we can see until now that the big majority of the people are in favor of Montenegro neutrality, so not entering in NATO. I would say, before I give a word to my colleague Božko Čarmak, a few sentences about our political situation in Montenegro. We heard and we read in newspapers today that host of Globsec, of expert forum of summit in Poland, hosted our seven-time Prime Minister with words of father of nation. So they call him a father of nation, our seven-time Prime Minister, Milo Đukanović. And I want to say that that is shameful and that is scandal, because the same guy, Milo Đukanović, has executed the main power in Montenegro for over 27 years now. And he is totally deeply rooted in war crimes at the beginning of the 19th, and now and after that 19th until now, deeply rooted his government into the organized crime. So we have here in Montenegro, when we speak about the situation in Montenegro and especially about the neutrality position of Montenegro, first of all, inevitably is to speak about the authorities in our country. Talking about the foreign policy of our country road, about the Atlantism, about the integration in NATO, it's not possible if we previously not consider a key question: who and how is leading us into NATO? The answer to this question gives insights firsthand and from one another perspective on this question. What is the nature of organization such as NATO, an organization which considers our regime as indeed democratic one? And we can see that very clearly now, also now in this summit in Poland, where the European leaders and the leaders of NATO consider our regime as democratic one, and our prime minister, like I said, as the father of nation. The Montenegrin government, or a ruling party that almost 27 years governs on the principle of the modernized mafia. So it is a mafiocratic system that, for the sake of the preserving the power and the privilege of small people around the seven-time Prime Minister Milo Đukanović, took over the institution as a facade. So we have here in Montenegro, and translated into the language of political sciences, facade democracy, if even we can talk about democracy. However, behind this facade is hidden organized crime. You have elections, but they are rigged. You have institutions, but they are privatized. You have the freedom of speech on the paper by the constitution. But if you criticize the prime minister and his comrades, you will remain without a job, get threats, endanger the safety of your family, your friends, your colleagues, or even be beaten or even be killed. So I just wanted to share with you just a few illustrative things and facts about Milo Đukanović and this regime, just because I wanted to point out that this is totally different truths. You have one truth that is showed and public there in summits, like a summit right now in Poland, in Warsaw. But on another hand, you have a real and only one truth here in Montenegro, where we have, like I told a few times, where we didn't change a government for 27 years now. And because of all that, we want to show our own will, a will of the people of Montenegro, because we don't want we don't want to say okay to go into NATO through the parliament, where is also one deeply corrupted parliament, and the parliament which is not entered or from the really free will of the people in some free elections. Because of that, we think and we do believe that we have to decide on a free and fair referendum. Everything beside that, it will be a big manipulation of Montenegrin citizens who, like I said before in introduction, in big majority are in favor of referendum, and also in the same time in favor of neutral Montenegro. We have, like I said, elites which are totally on one another side from our people, and all that clique came from one another and big system before from Communist Party, and we didn't have that transition of power. We just now have these guys which are now neoliberals and turbo capitalists, but in the essence they are the same one from the past system, from the communist system, etc., etc., etc. So because of that, we really sending appeal, and I'm now sending appeal to you, to journalists who are listening and watching this video, to share and to spread this our words, because also in Montenegro we are faced with the big and tremendous propaganda, media propaganda, which are from day to day or on the daily basis want to show to people that NATO integrations are without alternative. We think that we have to decide about that, and we will struggle for free and fair referendum. Thank you very much. After my colleague Boško Čarmak, we will wait for possible questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Marko. Okay, Marko told the main issue of our problem in Montenegro. What I want to try to headline. Okay, today we have a NATO summit in Warsaw, and we are concerned that maybe, that probably NATO now tries to substitute European Union. If you agree in European Union about it, that is okay to introduce Montenegro in NATO on this way, without elections, without referendum, on undemocratic way, you'll have same scenario in some European country, and you need to support us. You need to support democracy. We have big problem, but it's developing problem. You can see it. You can see it on the topic in NATO summit in Warsaw. You can see it in what to say, Marko. Yeah. Okay.
We have a question, huh?
Okay. We have a question.
Okay. So now I think that we have a question. If I'm right, just to check this. Sorry. These are some technical things, so we have to see that question. So just a few seconds, please, to read it and to, of course, answer on it. Okay, okay, just few seconds, please. Just to find question.
Okay, during you looking for questions, I want to
here.
here.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, we have problem with the site.
We have just some problems with connection on the side here. Sorry. I will refresh. Okay. Now
Okay.
I can't see this.
Okay, we have technical issue. We will have to wait 1 minute.
Okay, I would like to stress and to say a few more words during the waiting. Okay, so if you see rhetoric on this summit as NATO as a glue of European Union, you see very bad, very bad future of EU organization, which is substitute with NATO as a military alliance, and in that state of facts. You don't have a rule of law, you don't have democracy, and you have this scenario as we have now in Montenegro.
Okay, now we have a few questions here. Thank you for sending questions. I will read the first one. Please kindly tell us why NATO will be bad for Montenegro. The protection of people and their freedoms are the main priorities of NATO. Are you for or against it? Okay. Sorry. Okay. Sorry. So, thank you for this question. Sorry, I can see this question again. Sorry. Okay, now. NATO is synonym for militarization of all the world. So, first of all, we are not so against some group of the countries organized in some organization such as NATO. This is in core, in the essence, militarization of world. We think and we do believe. We also in movement for neutrality of Montenegro, but also the groups that we are representing now. We think that neutrality of Montenegro is the most humane and just model and way for Montenegro for future time. You said here that the protection of our people and their freedom are the main priorities of NATO. So this is just NATO propaganda, because don't go far in history from the 1949 when NATO was established, but just look in nowadays Europe and today's Europe. And we had information, and also we made some statistic in movement for neutrality of Montenegro. And when you see it at the last 5 years in Europe, there was 34 terroristic attacks on the ground of the Europe. Of those 34 terroristic attacks, there are 28, I think, but I can check it easy, but 28 terroristic attacks in the NATO states, and this rest, like from 28 to 34, so 6 terrorist attacks in non-NATO countries, so Russia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, and etc. And in the same period of time, in the same 5 years, in the Europe, there was none terroristic attack in neutral countries. So that is just one reason why we should not be part of such a big global bureaucratic, deeply corrupted organization, and also in the first place a war machine such as NATO organization. So the main thing is here, so that we think that protection is not, so it's totally contrary from your question, the stability and the peace, it's not in the NATO. At contrary, it's in neutral states in position when we will not be involved in these clashes of big countries, big groups such as NATO and Russia, etc., etc. Especially if we are a very small country. For example, you have 6 countries, neutral countries in the EU, members of European Union. And that countries are the countries with the high democratic standards, and we want to be like that country, to have a peace here, to be not part on even no one military organization in the world, not just NATO, but every military organization. So okay, so next question, I just to see. Sorry. So we will have a revolution, So one question is, of course, we will have a revolution. Bosko, do you want to answer on me or you?
Okay. Actually, I don't know about revolution. Actually, I don't know about revolution. But here in Montenegro, we have people on the street all last year. Maybe I don't know because democracy goes from institutions outside on the streets, but we are not glad because of that scenario. But I don't know. I don't know actually.
Okay, so if you, I would like also to say a few sentences about this revolution thing. So what means revolution today, nowadays? That's the key question. Of course that we want revolution. We want democratic revolution. Because we have now, in all the countries in Europe, elites. And every elite in every country in Europe and elsewhere are the most, and in most places, in most countries, are the deeply criminogenic, criminal, corrupted elites. So this, I think that we need something between evolution and revolution. Right. So I think really that it's not good to just sit as we sit right now, but of course that we are involved not just in these chairs, but it's not just okay to sit in your places. It's we need time, but in the same time, if the guys like our seven-time prime minister want to be in power for 3 decades, we will go into the streets like Mahatma Gandhi, etc., on the civil basis, on the basis of the civil rights, and just to defend our rights to choose. Because now this our government and NATO want to affect and want to shut in our right, democratic right to choose. We can't choose. We have to fight in all democratic ways just to say our words like a free citizens. So the next question is, why is your government trying to go against the will of the people in the country? Why is your government, you pledge to trying to go against the will of the people in the country? Because they are afraid of it. So that's a very simple answer. They are very afraid of the people of our country. Otherwise, they will put this question in referendum. That's easy. So they're really afraid of the people, especially about this question, about the question of NATO. So they are doing everything every day, especially these days after we got invitation for NATO at the 2nd of December last year, to go around and to decide and to push people by tremendous propaganda to decide in Parliament. And in Parliament, you have, I want also to stress this, it maybe can be interesting for you who are not from Montenegro. We have some schizophrenic situation, I will say like schizophrenic, but totally unnormal situation here in Montenegro, that two-thirds of members of parliament or two-thirds of parliament of Montenegro are in favor of NATO, while in the same time we have two-thirds of people who are in favor of neutral Montenegro. So that's totally a normal situation, and also because of that, we have to check all that in the referendum. So that is also one reason why we should, and we not just should, why we have to go in on the referendum if we want don't want to have in Montenegro some kind of Ukrainization of some kind of Ukraine scenario, because Montenegro, as you may know, is deeply divided country. We became independent in 2006, and we also from the Second World War were very divided on the Chetniks and Partisans, after that on Serbs and Montenegrians. After that, one big political party splitted, and we were divided on that. And now they are making us to be divided about NATO. And actually, we are not divided. In essence, we are against NATO, and all the researchers, honest researchers, research and surveys are showing us that. But just I'm repeating this 10th time now. The only thing that we need, that we fighting for, is referendum, free and fair referendum, so people can decide about their future, about our foreign policy road. So that's.
I want just to say on this question also, NATO way for our government in Montenegro is also washing machine for their criminal records, and they are how to say, Marco, they are catched in their own criminal trap.
Okay, so the next question is, do you receive threats from Albania? Is there also any within the Montenegro national conflicts? What does it mean? I'm not sure. Do you receive? Is there also any within the Montenegro national? I'm not sure. Do I understand this well? But do we receive threats from Albania? I don't know. We receive. We personally, and me personally, receive threats from Montenegro, from our government. I think this is the same thing like for the people who criticize government in Albania. They probably receive threats from government in Albania, but we don't have a problems with on this formal level and official level, and we didn't receive some threats from Albania. But Albania is part of NATO, so probably we receiving from Albania like a member of NATO. So this is all the NATO threats to peace and stability into this region. So it's totally contrary. So it's not like propaganda say that NATO brings prosperity, stability, and peace. NATO and all the military organizations bring us totally opposite things: instability, war, etc. And not just war here. We don't want to be part of any war anywhere.
Okay, actually.
So just a few more questions, I think. And
waiting for translation.
Because we are waiting, sorry, for translation, because some questions are on not in English, so we have to translate it. Who in Montenegro would like to join the NATO? Oh, this is good question. Is it okay?
Maybe, yeah. Okay. We can go. Okay.
Okay, you will answer. I will just put my some thoughts, and if you want, you can say afterwards. First of all, in the first place, Montenegrin government would like to join the NATO, and that's the most important thing here, because, like I said at the beginning in the introduction, we have here for 27 years criminal regime, and we didn't change the government for 30 years, and now NATO is great opportunity for such guys, Milo Djukanovic and this clique, to stay on the power and to have and to save their privileges, and also to save their freedom. So they want just to show themselves as some such democratic leaders who govern this country and who want to have security for themselves at the first place. And we have here motto of our propaganda for NATO is a safe future. So you can see that they're on the commercials, on the videos and everything. So the leitmotif and the logo, let's say slogan of our NATO propaganda is safe future. And I really do believe that they think about themselves, that is a safe future for very small people on the government. But also, I don't want to say that just they are for NATO. Of course, you have around 30%, 35 at most people and citizens who are in favor of NATO. A lot of people, a lot of are saying that because they are afraid of oppression and they are in fear of this government. Because people, why this is the same question, and it's connected with the question why we didn't change the government and this regime for 27 years. The question is the same, because of a fear of this government, of oppression, of pressures, of losing a job, etc., etc., etc. This is a small country, and everybody are so afraid of consequences of such things. So the people, when they say, and also the 30% of people who are for NATO, there are also some percents that don't want to say because they are afraid, and in the same time they want to say the same like is official story because they don't want, like I said, lose job, have threats, etc., etc., etc. So Boško, you said that you want to say something.
Okay. Who want to Montenegro join to NATO? NATO and Montenegrin government. Why do you have some percent of people who support it? Because they are afraid to be opposite. Because they are afraid to make resistance to NATO, to their government. Just like Marco said, because they are afraid for their families, for jobs, for physical, for their health, for their lives. That's the reason.
Okay,
that's the reason. That's the reason about I talk about that 35%.
Okay, so the next question is, this is probably not in English, so this is translated here. Examples of corruption of the government. Do you have facts? You have to live in Montenegro, so you because we are deeply rooted in the corrupted regime. But if you want facts, I will give you two facts. But there are like thousands of facts in the last 27 years. But the last two, and one of the biggest is the video type affair, audio type. Sorry, snimak. This is the name of affair, snimak, where we totally directly hear with our ears that our regime are totally based in big corruption, and that was before 2 years, and nobody was sentenced about that. But whole Montenegro listened that and see totally directly that our government are manipulating for the preserving a power and a winning election. And also last year, I personally published and give some documents, internal documents of our government to 1 Hour Daily, Dan, and that affair is known as Affair Dispatch. That's some kind of like Montenegro WikiLeaks. So we saw there, especially about this. So this second affair is totally connected with this NATO integrations. So it's more probably interesting to say about that now, because we are talking about our NATO integration. So we saw there that our government, our foreign ministry, in that time Igor Lukšić, are so hard manipulating our people, and also in the same time the leaders and the leaders of the countries such as USA, Germany, etc., etc., etc. And we publicly and totally based on documents, like we asked, based on the facts, so in that affair the whole manipulations in all this foreign policy of Montenegro, and we put that in the media, all the documents, etc., etc., etc. But I have to repeat, facts are everywhere in Montenegro. You should come here, and I invite you to come here, and you wouldn't need these facts, because you can see that, you know the people, you see corruption, you live corruption. Actually, we live corruption. We live this regime who is totally corrupted, and there's like I think that we are the country with the how to say the most affairs on the head of the citizen in the world.
I want to stress a few more examples which are actual in Montenegro. Case of Buljarica, where 15 million square meters of coast land, which is private, is a gift from our government to international tender to be more private than it is for investors from Arabia, Qatar, etc. Case of Patricia Povric, which is also now very, very actual, where you have political parties meetings paid from directions of
Okay, so the last question is, thank you, Boško. The last question is about to say something more about referendum, if I understood correct. Okay, like I show you. So this is the logo of our referendum. You can find it on www.votemontenegro.eu. So this is the core idea in the picture. So this is referendum, but in our language you can see in the middle of this word the referendum is fair, and that means the same fair. So we want fair referendum, and we just wanted to show to international audience and Europe audience that how our people and what our people here, our citizens think, because we can see that, like I said before, in researchers that are organized for the government, and in the affair dispatch in Montenegro WikiLeaks, we saw totally open that they manipulating and that they fabricated the number of the people who are against NATO. For example, in that documents, in the internal documents of government, there's noted that 57% of the citizens are against NATO, but our government public that. So for our audience, with 11% number less. So our people think that in that period of time that 46% of the people are against NATO. So I just wanted to say that we can't believe on that, so what our people, our citizens think. And now we can see very clearly there on this site, on referendum vote Montenegro EU, that a big 2/3 majority people are in favor of neutrality, because our referendum is totally free and fair. Of course, there are some few percents always, because this is technical things, internet, etc., because we are connecting through the Facebook, and there is always some little possibility to have some problems. But in big let's say in big majority, this is totally free and fair referendum, and you can now see what is a real will of our people. And of course, this is just one and just the first step. We will have a lot of let's say, models and a lot of new steps to show and to fight for this free and fair referendum. I think so. This is.
Yeah, we got one more.
One more question. Sorry. We have a common view that majority of people are protesting against joining the alliance. Is the pro-Russian Serbs living in territory of Montenegro? What is your opinion regarding this matter? Pro-Russian Serbs. So this is just I think this is classic propaganda, because I think not this question. This I believe is okay question, but this is an echo of big and tremendous propaganda, where they want to divide us and say that against NATO are Russians, Serbs, Chetniks, etc., 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 and also the guys who are opposite, who are not in favor of Montenegro independence, and on another hand, for NATO are the guys who are for Western values, the Montenegrians, etc., etc. So this is terrible. This is not totally true, and you can the easiest way to see that that is not true is the facts, and is the more than 50%, according to free surveys, are against NATO. It's totally clear that are not just this, like you said, I will quote, pro-Serbs, pro-Russian Serbs. So there are also here in Montenegro 20% of Muslims that are against NATO. You have also the Albanians who are against NATO, and we have also in our movement for neutrality members who are Albanians, national Albanians, and are for NATO. Also, before few weeks, we had a visit and very successful panel with the members of Parliament of Germany, and we invited and host two members of Parliament, Inge Höger and Alexander Noy, from the Die Linke party, and they are also like they want to say from the West, and they are totally against integrations in NATO. They are for pacifism, etc., etc., etc. And also us, for example, we and our friends, colleagues, and in movement, we are not some kind of, like you said, Russian pro-Serbs, etc., etc. We are just a pacifist from Montenegro who don't care about these big, let's say, geopolitical things. We just believe and we just love our country, Montenegro, and because of that love, we don't want to allow to this country be part of one great military, tremendous military organization at all. So this is, I do believe, real patriotism, not to be in wars. That's patriotism, not like before in the last centuries that patriotism is to have a gun with you and go on the battle and the war. This is totally opposite.
One more thing, for example, in Montenegro, military budget for last year, for 2015, was $30 million euros for 1 year. When we began, if we continue to go this way, to NATO way, in next year we'll have about 100 million euros military budget, what is 2% of BDP. Yes, as Jens Stoltenberg told on NATO Senate. So every year we'll have about 50 to 70 million euros to give someone, not to military employees, but to buy some to buy ammunition from, I don't know, United States or whoever.
So I think this is the last question. Yeah, is in Spanish. Lei è uno politico o un giornalista? So this is some kind. Okay, I understood. Am I a journalist or politician? Politician. I think that if you are a good journalist and if you are a good politician is the same thing. And I really think that this is up to motives. And it's not matter who am I? Am I journalist? Am I politician? Am I painter? Am I something else? The main thing is, especially here in Montenegro, that we are in, how to say, vanredna, and we are not in regular situation, let's say like that. So I do believe that all the people who want good to this country have to go out of his professions, politician, journalist, etc., to help and to struggle for this very, very important topic and very important, let's say, question, which is in front of us, to be part or not to be part of NATO. So when we are talking about me, I will return on me personally. I don't care about the divisions. I don't care. I don't give a damn about the names and the titles, journalists, politicians. I don't know. I just know that I'm fighting for for this referendum, and really I base this fight on the really need of these people that we can see easily on these facts. I told you before about these facts about the need for referendum and everything and everything.
Politika počela se bavi nama. Da.
So
That's it. That was
so I think that was the but there's one more question. Do you think that the referendum carried out online will help you achieve this in reality? Okay, this is a good question. Yes, I believe yes, and this is the reason why we started this. We have to push very strong this government to listen us, and we don't have so much let's say things how we can do. We don't have power. We are not a government, so we have to be creative, to be original, to find the ways to show to international audience, also in our audience, that we really need that kind of referendum. So this is the way we want to show that the people are for a referendum and that people are for neutrality. We are showing that also with our referendum, and we want to show to the world and Europe and region that how is situation here. We have to go and to think out of the box. We have to shout. We are shouting by this referendum and website, etc., shouting for help. We are just calling a help here because we are in bad position. We are in bad position. I will repeat once again, for almost 3 decades, we didn't change a government. And that this very same government now wants also to, against the will of the people, throw us into a NATO. So we don't want to allow that.
And also, this is the most fair public research in Montenegro on NATO issue. That's the most fair. Until now, we have more than 20,000 of people who vote on this kind of public research.
Okay, so this was the last question and our last answers. I have to thank you a lot for your patience to be here while the summit is going on there in Warsaw. Thank you very much, and please send to your audience and share our ideas if possible. I know that it's hard, but nevertheless, thank you very much, and greetings from Montenegro.
Thank you.
Thank you.